The best piece of advice I have for someone trying to succeed in the film industry or any creative space is if you're doing what everyone else is doing, you're doing it wrong.
One of the best to ever do it.
What is freedom? I think I stole this from Bob Dylan, but maybe I stole this from Woody Guthrie. Freedom for me is waking up in the morning and going to sleep at night, and in between doing exactly what I want to do. What's the secret to happiness? The secret to happiness is finding something you love and then doing that for the rest of your life.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Site Review Tuesday. I'm Robert with Zenfolio Customer Success, and I want to say thank you for joining me. Now, here in a minute, we're going to get to reviewing one of your websites, and I do want to point out that while this has been pre-recorded, I'm hanging out in the chat, interacting with you guys live and answering your questions. Now, if you're interested in having your website reviewed, there's a link in the description below this video where you can submit your site. And in addition to getting a site review, I also offer a one-on-one session to each photographer who has had a site review done to help them answer any questions or assist in making any changes that they may want to make. Now, don't forget, we also live stream every Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, so I hope to see you there. Let's get into the site review.
Hi guys, thank you for joining me. This is Katie bringing you another Zenfolio live site review. Today we're going to be looking at friedmanphotography.co.uk. Thanks to Jeremy Friedman of Friedman Photography for submitting your site to us for the review. These are really a great way of seeing how other Zenfolio users have approached the platform and built a site, so thank you again for participating in this very fun process. So I just want to remind everyone that this has been pre-recorded, but I'll be hanging out with you guys in chat in case anyone has any questions or comments as we go along with the site review. So please chat in and let me know what you think. So right now we're looking at friedmanphotography.co.uk on the home page, and let me just refresh this real quick so that we can get that slideshow playing back again. Awesome, so we're starting out with a really beautiful image, and this was a really fun site to look over because these images are really beautiful. So let's go ahead and get started looking here on the home page. So one of the first things I noticed after these images was the use of a custom logo on this homepage layout, and great looking logo, great way of advancing your brand. So definitely a great idea to use that custom logo here on the homepage. So I really enjoy the custom logo. I also enjoy the fact that right here on the home page, visitors are going to find out exactly what areas you service and if maybe you might could photograph their event. So definitely encourage the use of things like the welcome message to let any potential visitor know if you might be the photographer for them, or if you might just be a little too far outside their area. So great use of the welcome message there on the home page. I was also really pleased to see a homepage slideshow with relevant photographs capturing all the different kinds of photography that you have advertised on your site via the portfolio galleries. So I think it's a really great use of the slideshow on this homepage layout. So definitely a nice work on this homepage. So let's go ahead and start getting into some of these portfolio galleries. First thing I thought when I pulled up the Bat Mitzvah Bar Mitzvah gallery is that it's a great use of gallery captions to offer more information about pricing and packages for this kind of photography. I think this is a really great idea and great use of the caption field so that your visitors are getting the most possible information if that's the sort of event that they're interested in hiring you for. Just right up front, offering your pricing and what they can expect in their packages. Great idea. It made me feel that you would be an upfront person, that the process would be transparent and probably an easy person to work with for that reason. So was really impressed by the use of the caption. The only thing that I was going to mention as far as some way of improving this particular page would be that there were a few redundancies I saw in the images from this gallery, just in the sense that there are a few images that are similar to other images in the gallery, say these portraits here. It might be a little bit more focused feeling if there were fewer redundancies in some of the portfolio images for this gallery. But that was my only bit of criticism for that page. So let's go on here to the weddings gallery. Again, great use of the caption so that your visitors know what to expect from wedding packages if they are interested in hiring you for those wedding packages. One thing that I noticed for both the weddings and the portraits site menu items and these associated portfolio galleries is that on the Bat Mitzvah Bar Mitzvah gallery versus the weddings and portraits galleries, the Bat Mitzvah Bar Mitzvah does not include the number of photos or these select photos share slideshow buttons. So just for the sake of consistency, also because those can tend to be not quite as useful as those buttons might be if it was a client proofing gallery, it might be a good idea just to go ahead and turn off those buttons and the number of photos view option in the page options and customized view for this gallery, as well as the portraits gallery. So kind of the same thing going on in both of these. For the sake of consistency and focus, I would say go ahead and get rid of those buttons, and we can find out how many photos are in that gallery just by looking at it. I would say just go ahead and get rid of that. So looking at the weddings gallery, I think this is a great selection of images. I do like that all of the portfolio galleries are using a consistent layout in the sense that they're all using the gallery caption really nicely, and they all have the same grid. We'll just need to get rid of those bits of extra info there in the top. So that's what I would say for these particular galleries. One other thing that I might consider would be adding a site menu item up here that with a drop down for portfolio, and then having these galleries under the portfolio site menu item. It's not a necessity, but I noticed that there were a few site menu items that don't appear here in the site header, which will be the setup for all of your site pages except for your home page. So there are a couple of ways to fit in the rest of those site menu items. One way would be creating a drop-down, possibly for these portfolio galleries. Another might be uploading a custom logo to replace the display name on the header. So just like your home page, you could be using a custom logo here in the site header so that you're further building your brand and that brand recognition via the custom logo. and also giving yourself a little bit more space here in the site header. So let's go on to the What Our Clients Say site menu item and see what's going on in here. So this is a Testimonials page. It's pretty straightforward in the sense that this is going to be one of the built-in Zenfolio pages, specifically the guest book. And I do think this is a really great way of using the guest book, especially if your clients are kind enough to go in there and add their feedback to your guest book. So I think that's a really great way of using the guest book feature, to use that as a testimonials page. So pretty straightforward contact page. Got some more information on where to find you. I also love that you include contact information in so many areas of your site. It gives folks an opportunity to immediately act on their impulse when they might be browsing your site and make the decision in the moment that they'd like to get in touch with you. It's pretty accessible in all of these site pages. That you are more than happy to field those requests. So I think that's a really great use of the text fields in your website, including that contact information. So as I was saying earlier, there are a few site menu items that are not visible in the site header, possibly because of the display name element and how that is sort of stretching across the page. Again, one way of condensing that down a little bit would be to use a custom logo or editing the site menu to combine some site menu items. So let's go back here to the home page and see what we're working with as far as these other pages. So let's go ahead and go here to the About page. I do see that you've got your custom logo, again, featured on your About page. I think that's a great idea. However, it would be a little bit more personal, maybe to see an image of you, the photographer. It would be a little bit less abstract. I would feel like I had a better sense of who you are, what sort of personality you might have. So that would be something to consider if you were at all interested in using a photo or a video of yourself to include in an About page. I think that that's a really great way to build rapport with potential clients via your website so that they can feel a little bit more like you're a familiar presence and that it's not so abstract and not a complete stranger that they're trying to reach out to photograph their event. It will make you seem a little bit more accessible just to be able to see who you are, what you're about. Another thing I noticed with this particular setup for the About page is that you start out in the third person, and then following the quotes leading into first person. So that might be something you want to consider if you'd rather have a consistent voice through this page. Either putting information out there in a third person and keeping that consistent, or going ahead and making it personal and putting that in first person. And definitely, as I was saying, including images or videos of yourself so that your visitors get a better idea of who you are, whether they would be interested in working with you. One other thing I noticed while looking through the site was that the current theme selected and customized for the site is showing links in this sort of light blue, slate blue color. I would consider, just so those links stand out a little bit more, maybe pulling from something more like this kind of electric blue that's in the custom logo, just so that it's really apparent to your visitors when there's something there for them to be able to click on to head to something like an external link to a slideshow or other site pages, and just anything where you've got a link featured on your site. So I would recommend maybe heading into Theme Designer and changing the color under the Style tab for links on your site, especially since you've got so many nice colors going on in this custom logo anyhow. You've already got a palette to choose from. I say go for it and make those links a little bit more obvious. Another thing I liked was the use of social media icons in the header as well as on the home page, so that folks can get into that Facebook page and find out a little bit more there, have an alternate way of contacting you, and so on. So let's have a look at these other site menu items that we couldn't see while we were in the header section on these other site pages. So let's check out this other services page. So other services, I'm seeing some great recommendations for other vendors, likely folks that you've worked with at some of the events that you've shot. I think it's a great way of building rapport with other small business owners and other businesses in your area, because I bet, as you go, you're meeting people who are just as professional, and it's definitely great to have those kinds of networks. So again, it would be a little bit easier to see that there's more information for me to find out about for each one of these vendors by making these links stand out a little bit more. But I do think this is a great use of a custom page. Of course, custom pages are really useful in case you're wanting to offer more text-based information on your website. So I think this is great use of that. I do think that because this is a photography website, and likely the work identified by you in this text could also be illustrated by some images that you've shot at some of your events. So it might be worth reaching out to these same vendors to say, hey, do you mind if I feature this image from this event? And that way you can make this custom page that's very much a text-heavy page a little bit more visually interesting by illustrating these businesses, what they do, what folks might be able to hire them for, with the use of images rather than just the text. So I think this is a really nice use of a page and a way of building goodwill and hopefully happy customers along the way. So again, headed back to the home page to access the rest of the site menu. We'll go here to the Client Galleries site menu item, and it looks like currently this Client Galleries site menu item is set to open in a new window. So that would be a setting for the site menu item itself. So that opens in a new window. That's the only site menu item that I see following that behavior. So it might be worth changing that not to open in a new window. And it looks like this is a little bit similar to what we've already seen as far as the portfolio galleries. If this is a page that you're using to route your clients to their, I did notice when I went into these galleries from the group page that it does look like this is at least one way that you're making galleries available to your clients. In some cases, I noticed that galleries were using a gallery ID, the same kind of thing that's mentioned here in the footer when that is active. It might be a little bit cleaner feeling for you to link the built-in client access page rather than sending your visitors to this client galleries group page. Just something to consider. Definitely not a necessity, but at least that way you would have a single page where folks are just entering their gallery ID and they can get into their galleries without necessarily having to wade through work that you've done for other clients in order to see their images. So that's something that I would consider, but this is still a totally valid way of using your group page to send clients where they need to get. One thing I would consider would be removing the breadcrumbs from these various gallery and group pages, just because they're not necessarily needing to get back to the client galleries. But again, not a necessity, definitely a personal preference kind of thing. So just in summary, we've got a great looking homepage, awesome slideshow, beautiful photos. I really like the use of this layout. I love knowing exactly where you are as soon as I visit the homepage. There's no guesswork on my part as a visitor. It's a very effective way of using that welcome message. I would consider possibly combining some site menu items into a drop-down just so that there's a little bit more room as we move into the site, so that these items don't get cut out of the site menu. Also, possibly using a custom logo here rather than the display name. Cleaning up and making these portfolio galleries a little bit more consistent, getting rid of those buttons and the number of photos, and possibly just sprucing up a few of these pages, including things like your photo or a video of yourself. So I think overall, great site.
Hey, thank you guys so much for watching that site review. If you found this video helpful, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure that you click that subscribe button and hit the little bell icon so you get notified when we post videos and when we go live. Now, if you're interested in having your site reviewed, there's a link in the description below this video where you can submit your website for that. And in addition to getting a site review, you're also going to get a link where you can schedule a session with me. We're going to go over your website, go over the review. I'll answer any questions that you have and help you make any changes that you're interested in making. So the link to sign up for that is in the description below this video. Now, don't forget, Zenfolio Live coming up this Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Hope to see you guys there. Until then, I hope you have a great week.